Welcome back to the American Superbike Show. I'm your host, Stitch Turner, and today, well, this show is still sponsored by Riding Times, where you can go to ridingtimes.com for the best value on your next e-moto, mini-moto, or even just an electric bike, plus save an additional 5% off the list price by using the promo code SBK5 at checkout. Thankfully, they aren't going away anytime soon as my sponsor. But today, this episode's all about Royal Enfield and the riders that make up the Build, Train, Race program. Before we get into that, we do have a mailbag question. And today, our mailbag question comes from Reddit user DriftlistDB. It's actually 3 questions. And it is, what's the deal with the relationship between Strack and Attack in regard to the technical partnership on the R1 Superbike? ? Heard it was off as of Road America? ? Is that why Skoltz was off a little bit at Road America compared to the first few rounds? So, thank you for the questions. Especially because most of us, well, we're about to learn something. I know I didn't know this until you asked me this question and got me poking around a little bit, trying to find an answer. So the first thing I noticed is, when the Strack Racing bike was, when they had their official announcement about taking part in Superbike this year, the bike did have that Attack branding on the side, as part of the press release photos and everything. But I couldn't find that branding on any of the photos from Road America after you brought it up. But after a little bit and sending out some feelers to a couple of people, I also started to realize I haven't seen that branding on any of the races this season once I started looking at the photos. Now, so as the great Stan Lee used to say, every comic book is somebody's first. So when I'm going to introduce our therapy words again, I know a lot of you have already heard this before, but just in case, I want to lay out what they are at this front. And they are, I think, I feel, I know. I think means that, I literally, just me, I'm thinking something. This is, what I think from the information that's been presented to me. I feel means that it's not just something I'm thinking up all on my own. However, it's also not something that's confirmed. So there's rumor out there, but I don't have enough evidence that I can really truly make a determination one way or another. And then there's I know, and that means that I know for a fact that this is confirmed. And so I'm going to answer these questions with all the stuff that I know. Okay, this isn't going to be I think stuff. This isn't I feel. This is stuff that I know for a fact. And we're going to start with the last 2 questions. So, was the deal off as of Road America? Technically, no. The deal ended sometime after Daytona and before Road Atlanta. So therefore, with the last question, is that why Skoltz was a little off at Road America compared to the first 3 rounds? And so the answer to that would also have to be a no, because while Strack received a good bike from Attack Performance, they've been developing it on their own since before the season started. So while the lows of Road America, they're completely on the shoulders of Strack Racing, but so are the highs from the first 2 rounds of the season, with the 3 victories in those 4 races, including sweeping the Barber round. So, and that leads us back to the first question part. Literally anything else outside of what I just, said that I know would just be complete speculation on my part, because I have absolutely no idea outside of that what the intended length of the partnership was or what it was supposed to entail. So to wrap up the facts, at least that I know them, the partnership started sometime, it started before last season ended, with Attack Performance and Strack Racing teaming together to run Bobby Fong at the final 2 World Superbike Championship rounds. I also know that Strack Racing received a very nice Yamaha R1 from Attack Performance at some point. And then I also know that the partnership ended sometime after Daytona and before the 2026 MotoAmerica Superbike Championship kicked off at Road Atlanta. And from that point, Strack Racing has just been developing this Yamaha R1 on their own. So that's, I hope it helps. I also thought that the partnership was an ongoing thing. I did not realize that it had ended before the season even kicked off. All right, well, let's go ahead and roll into our 5 questions for the Build, Train, Race edition. Now, these questions are slightly modified from the usual 5 questions I use because I thought it would be better to get a brief history of the background of these riders, especially relating to motorcycles, plus what made them say, I can do this, and make the decision to apply for the program. Most of these were recorded at Road Atlanta during the Super Sport race one on Saturday. It did it inside the B.TR hauler so that we could get some protection from the sounds of the race going on in the track around us, but you can still hear some of it in the background. At least most of I say most of it because all but one, Brianna Everett's, somehow the file got corrupted. And so she was so very nice that we met on Zoom last week and we were able to get hers redone and recorded. So thank you very much to Brianna Everett for, accommodating me, accommodating that in her schedule. Also, we have 9 riders of the 10. Sandy Max, she did not want to participate, and that's totally reasonable because she did not feel comfortable with the English language as far as doing the interview on her own, and also didn't really want to take the time out to try and make another rider be the translator, and especially because I said that we did a lot of these during the Super Sport race one at Road Atlanta on Saturday. Well, at that time they had already just finished their first race of the season. Themselves. They were the first race of the day, if I remember correctly. And so all the competitors were back at the tent, and that's one of the reasons they wanted me to come at that time, because it would be a good time that everyone was together. But at that same time, they're going through the process of tearing down their bikes from the post-race, inspection and maintenance. And they had a lot to do because they were also the first bikes out on the track again Sunday morning. I think before even 8 a.m., I think they were scheduled to be back out for the warm-up, and then they were the first race of the day on Sunday. They just had a lot going on, and so just didn't want to make things too overly complicated, and I totally get that, and I appreciate that. I do want to give a very big thank you to Jennifer Lewis. That was my point of contact at Royal Enfield, and to the person in charge of the rider schedule, and thank you very much for doing everything you did in order to make this happen. I'm so very thankful. The order that the riders are going to appear is pretty much just, it's alphabetical by sort of first name basis, because that's kind of how my computer pulled all the files together. So in order, it's going to be Brianna Cutler, Brianna Everett, Emily Dixon, Jasmine Noel, Juliana Bernardez, Karina Saboez, Marie Madura, Tiffany Vo, and last but not least, Taddy Pays. Taddy's quickly become my favorite rider. She is fearless, and she is awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off before I play the 5 question segments from this year's Build Train Race competitors. Although one last thing before I do hit play. And that last thing is, next week, we're going to dig up our preseason predictions, and we're going to see how well they are faring now that most of the championships are starting to hit their halfway points for the season. And I'm going to put up the call for questions on Reddit like I usually do for the mailbag at the end of this week. But this week, I want you to feel free to also post what you think has been just the biggest surprise to you so far this season. As always, if Reddit's not for you, you can always just email the American Superbike Show. Well, it's americansuperbikeshow@gmail.com. There's no "the" in the email, so just americansuperbikeshow@gmail.com. And I look forward to getting your responses, and we'll have a fun time next week. Until we get there, just same as usual. Just take care of each other. I am joined by Brianna Cutler. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So your answers can be as long or as short as they need to be, but really just looking for the first answers that come to mind. And the first question is, did you participate in any other sports outside of racing as a kid?
I had no motorsports background as a child. I was a figure skater before I transitioned into motorcycle racing.
You're the first figure skating answer I think I've heard. The second question is, what do you do for a living off the track?
I am an embalmer and a funeral apprentice. I'm going to school to become a licensed funeral director.
That is also a first for an answer.
I'm sure.
Well, the third question is, what experience or relationship did you have with motorcycles before B.TR?
So before B.TR, I had never done a race in my life, a formal race, but I had done plenty of track days. So when I started, it was definitely a big learning curve, but I had already absolutely fallen in love with just the world of motorsports, not just motorcycles, but the community that revolves around dirt bikes and road racing and everything like that. So I was pretty deep into the culture and riding. I just hadn't done a race yet.
Well, what or who inspired you to apply for this program?
definitely all of the girls that have come before me, seeing them was so cool. I actually came down and watched B.TR as a fan before I was on the team, and I still remember what it feels like when I saw a B.TR girl walk past me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's a B.TR girl, and I just was such a big fan, and I couldn't believe that they built their own motorcycles, and I was just so in awe of them. And so I try to remind myself of that feeling now, because it's just so humbling that I'm able to be on this team.
Well, what has been your favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica?
Well, I would probably say about an hour ago, winning my first race, but that did not happen without plenty of rough experiences last year. I mean, I really was hard on myself. After, every race I would come off and I would just cry. I was so mad because I wanted to go faster, and I was doing all of the things. I was studying the track. I was visualizing. I was trying so hard, and people kept saying, oh, it takes time, but I guess I wanted, the instant gratification, and I'd never struggled like that before in my life. My other endeavors, I guess maybe I had more natural talent than motorsports. So this taught me a lot. And now to be able to see all of last year pay off is so cool.
Well, you can definitely tell you're hard on yourself, because I asked you what your favorite experience in MotoAmerica was, and you talked about how hard last year was.
Right. Yes, you're right.
But Brianna Cutler, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I am joined by Brianna Everett. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So the first question is, did you participate in any sports outside of racing as a kid?
Yes. So as a kid, I actually wasn't involved in racing at all. My biggest sports sort of go hand in hand. I started out as a gymnast. Very quickly realized I was nothing special in gymnastics about my middle school age. So then I joined my high school cheerleading squad and became a competitive cheerleader. So rah rah.
were you a flyer, or were you?
I was a flyer. Yeah.
Oh yay!
They threw me around.
That had to be exciting. So what do you do what do you do for a living off the track today?
So I am a mechanical engineer by degree, and I work for a company that makes material testing machines. So the strength of materials, kind of any material you can think of. So my company makes those machines, and I work as technical support for our customers and our field service engineers. And I also train our field service engineers that then go work on those machines. It's a very long-winded explanation of my obscure job with my company.
Well, for me, I worked for 7 years in concrete and then spent another 3 or 4 years in asphalt on top of that.
There you go.
That
so you
stuff
it
interests me highly. Yes.
Yep. We break stuff for a living.
Well, so what experience or relationship did you have with motorcycles before B.TR?
So I started riding, I think probably, I'm aging myself here. So I was 18 when I started riding, and that was 14 years ago now. Whew, so long ago. My now husband, then boyfriend, taught me to ride motorcycle. He had a bike. I wanted to do it. I didn't want to ride in the back of his. And then we kind of, for the last 14 years, have been on this crazy adventure of riding all kinds of motorcycles. We started out track days, got into some flat track stuff, tried motocross once and realized I'm really bad at landing, so I don't jump bikes anymore. But yeah, just been riding motorcycles at every point in the last 14 years in some way. And then getting back into road racing, I applied to B.TR a few times, took them a little bit. But yeah, it's like the cherry on top of this crazy 14-year long motorcycle adventure.
Well, so what or who specifically inspired you to apply for this program?
So specifically, I mentioned that we dabbled in flat track a little bit. So I met Sonia Lloyd in flat track. She's from Georgia. I'm in South Carolina. We'd cross paths at some of these races. And when she got the road racing ride in B.TR a few years back now, that kind of made it seem like, wow, maybe I could do something like that. I mean, maybe I don't need all these crazy connections in order to get in. Maybe I just, keep applying and keep trying, and maybe I'll get my opportunity. And I did eventually.
Well, what has been your favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica?
So the unique thing about B.TR is that it's a program, it's a team, all women, different backgrounds, different experience levels, but you are racing against your teammates. That makes it a very kind of unique dynamic. But my favorite part of it as a whole then is a little bit unique to the program then. It's a family. We are helping each other under that tent, making sure we are all at our best. Our bikes are at their best. You know, the newer girls this year are always like asking me why I'm helping them because I want to beat them on the track. You know, of course, you know, we'll see how the race goes. But yeah, I want them at their best. It's a family, it's a team program, and I think it's a very unique aspect in MotoAmerica. Most of the racers in MotoAmerica are not necessarily helping somebody who then is going to go out and beat them. Potentially.
Well, Brianna Everett, thank you very much for taking the time out of your schedule to redo this with me again.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I am joined by Emily Dixon. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
So your answers can be as long or as short as they need to be, but really just looking for the first answer that comes to mind. And the first question is, did you participate in any other sports outside of racing as a kid?
Yeah, growing up, I kind of dabbled in a few different things. It was soccer when I was 4 years old. I remember that vividly, getting my first bloody nose at the age of 4. But other than that, I dug into horseback riding. I've been doing competitive horseback riding from the ages of 4 to probably 22. And then I switched into bodybuilding for a little bit, and I did that competitively for 6-7 years. And then other than that, I was like, you know what? I like the horse thing. I like all the horsepower. I'm going to go for a few more. And then I started racing motorcycles.
Well, nice. So what do you do for a living off the track?
For off the track, so what I do for a living is I'm a freelance marketer.
Okay.
A little bit of an entrepreneur. I like to do some stock trading, and yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, what experience or relationship did you have with motorcycles prior to Build Train Race?
So prior to Build Train Race, I had been racing for about 3 years, mostly out of Shannonville in Ontario. So I was with Race Moto, and I did a few rounds with the VRA, but I got a quick start into racing. I did 5 track days, Calbogie and Shannonville, and then I just decided, hey, let's take this to the next level, and I started racing.
Well, what or who inspired you to apply for this program?
It's hard to say. I had a friend sent it to me actually a couple of years back, and they were like, you know what, this is something you should apply for. And at first I was a little nervous because I was like, oh, I don't know, like, what does it really take to get in? Like, these girls, I've seen their races, like, they're fast,
right.
Really amazing riders. It looks like they have a great program, and so I just like, you know what, I'll try it. I try to get in, and I made the cut, and I'm so thankful to be here.
What has been your favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica?
Oh, that's a hard question. My favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica, just the environment is very, very different from what I'm used to. The people here are absolutely phenomenal. I have such a great team. I'm surrounded by amazing people, and it's the people, you know. And of course, the tracks here in the United States are pretty awesome, I gotta say.
Yes. Well, Emily Dixon, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Take care.
I am joined by Jasmine Noel. Thank you for joining me.
Absolutely happy to be here.
So your answers can be as long or as short as they need to be, but really just looking for the first answer that comes to mind. And the first question is, did you participate in any other sports outside of racing as a kid?
Oh, yes, I did. I did gymnastics as a kid. I really loved it. I was competing, and then I grew up with horses. So I did a lot of horseback riding. That one came much earlier, and then the last one I was the flyer of my cheer team, and I liked the heights, the challenge, the fear. It was good. You can see, there's a common theme.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what do you do for a living off the track?
Yeah, off the track, I am a counselor. I work as a crisis counselor.
Oh, awesome! It's got to be a very rewarding profession.
It is. I'm proud of that mission, for sure.
Well, what experience or relationship did you have with motorcycles before Build Train Race?
Oh, man. So ever since I was little, I think just being able to stick my head out the window as my dad drove down the freeway and just catch the wind, it did something that was just so calming. And I was always on the swing set or moving as fast as I could. I loved, and the horse would gallop as fast as they could. So I just always liked speed. Speed brings me peace, and heights do as well. I think there's a perspective that it puts on the rest of the mundane worries of life. It kind of puts things where they should be as far as perspective. And so I've really been fortunate that this was a dream of mine to get a motorcycle since I was really little, and it was something that I carried with me for about 15 years before it came into fruition, and then the racing happened very shortly after that.
Well, what or who inspired you to apply for this program?
I had somebody from my racing program send me the B.TR application. I had never heard of B.TR before. I thought, well, might as well throw my name in the hat. And I thought, don't get your hopes up. They're looking at the entire country and other countries. I couldn't believe it when I got that email and they said, hey, you're going to be a factory rider for the Royal Enfield.
Well, what has been your favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica?
It's so surreal to be here. I mean, just soaking up everything, getting Freddie Spencer, talking us through our MotoAmerica experience is probably, the coolest thing that, that anybody. This is the best way to experience MotoAmerica, with Freddie on your shoulder, kind of coaching you through things.
It certainly does appear that way. Well, Jasmine Noel, thank you very much for joining us.
Honored to be here again. Thanks so much.
I am joined by Juliana Bernitis. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
So your answers can be as long or as short as they need to be, but really just looking for the first answer that comes to mind. And the first question is, did you participate in any other sports outside of racing as a kid?
I actually never raced before. I've never been that athletic, but this is my first ever experience at racing.
Okay. Well, what do you do for a living off the track?
I'm a mechanical engineer, and I work with vertical pumps, but nothing related to motorcycles.
Yeah, that's still awesome. I'm a nerd for that kind of stuff. Well, what experience or relationship did you have with motorcycles before B.TR?
I only ride street bikes, and then I started riding dirt bikes for fun, for motocrossing trails, but only for fun.
Right.
Nothing like regular. That's the only experience, actually.
Well, what or who inspired you to apply for this program?
I've seen the Brazilian girls, because I'm Brazilian, so I've seen on their Instagram, and I just wanted to be part of it, and I applied, and here I am.
That's all the reason you need.
Yeah.
Well, what has been your favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica?
We got a lot of first times here. There's a lot to be excited, but I think I have to say the race, because I just got out on my first race ever, and it's thrilling. It's a thrilling experience. Maybe the race.
Well, Juliana, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
I am joined by Karina Samoes. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
So your answers can be as long or as short as they need to be, but really just looking for the first answer that comes to mind. And the first question is, did you participate in any other sports outside of racing as a kid?
Not as a kid, a little kid, but when I was growing. Did you ask as a racer?
No, outside of racing.
Outside of racing.
So no racing. Did you do anything else?
Okay. I used to do all of the sports I could when I was a kid at school.
Right.
I did like handball, volleyball, soccer, and when I started like growing up, I started to do climbing and all
like
of
rock
this
climbing and stuff.
Yeah. I love like bicycles. So when I was like a teenager, I did like 5 sports, but never one that had
took
my
everything.
Heart, just like motorcycles.
Right. Well, what do you do for a living off of the track?
I'm a journalist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I write about cars and bikes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so I put together like passion and work.
Well, the third question is, what experience or relationship did you have with motorcycles before Build, Train, Race?
Yeah, as like once I test motorcycles, it's nice because I can ride all kinds of bikes, like big Harleys
Right.
and sport bikes and small bikes and everything. So I work with journalism. It's been like 15 or 20 years because I'm already 41. So I have a great amount of experience in riding.
What or who inspired you to apply for this program?
Oh, actually, me and Tati were the first two Brazilian girls here, and we knew about the program, and we thought it was like fantastic. But as we're not young girls, just like
Right.
18, 20, we thought it was not for us. But then in our interview, we saw that it could be possible. And then we really wanted, especially when we saw Freddie Spencer
Right.
talking to us, and I was like, really? Oh, we really want to be part of that. And then it happened, so that's it.
Well, what has been your favorite experience so far with MotoAmerica?
For me, is like improving my skills each race, each opportunity. Like, it's huge how I feel way more comfortable in a motorcycle this year than last year.
Right.
So I improved a lot. And another thing is to get to know some of great American tracks that
Yes.
it won't be possible, like for me.
Well, Karina Samoes, thank you very much for joining
Thank
us.
you. Sorry about my bad English.
It's better than mine, and it's the only language I know.
Okay, thank you.
I am joined by Marie Madura. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
So your answers can be as long or as short as they need to be, but really just looking for the first answer that comes to mind. And the first question is, did you participate in any other sports outside of racing as a kid?
As a kid, I did dabble a little bit in volleyball, cross country, track. They were fun, but I never really got that wow moment out of them. It was just something to kind of keep me busy. As I got a little bit older, I did get into CrossFit and lifting, which I enjoyed, but I feel like my sweet spot has to be racing. That's like my full heart. Everything goes here.
Well, what do you do for a living off the track?
Off the track, I am a 4th grade teacher.
Oh, awesome. So what experience or relationship did you have with motorcycles before you joined Build Train Race?
So my experience prior to Build Train Race was about 5-ish years ago. I used to street ride with my husband, and then we actually have a funny story. We were out with friends, and we were just like in a parking lot, kind of standstill, and I accidentally tipped my bike over. And as a joke, I was like, oh, I guess I can do track days now. Like, I dropped my bike, and my husband, lo and behold, decided to kind of take that upon himself and sign me up. And I fell in love with track days, and then I started getting a little bit more competitive, started doing a little bit of club racing, and now I'm here.
Well, the fourth question is, what or who inspired you to apply for this program?
My husband, for sure. He's been doing dirt stuff since he could walk, so I've always been a little bit envious, being like, wow, like he could do that. I could see the passion in his eyes, so I was like, I want to try it, and I finally found my little neck of the woods that I want to be in.
Well, the final question is, what has been your favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica?
My favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica has to be just meeting all the new faces, meeting the new mindsets, collaborating with different teams, and just hearing all the wonderful insights on like what makes them learn and thrive, and just how a team functions too.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks guys for listening.
I am joined by Tiffany Vo. Thank you very much for joining me. So your answers can be as long or as short as they need to be, but really just looking for the first answer that comes to mind. And the first question is, did you participate in any other sports outside of racing as a kid?
I did. I wasn't particularly very athletic when I was younger, but I did try a little bit of everything. I used to do karate. I did tennis. That was my longest standing sport. But I never fell in love with anything as much as I did with motorcycles. And so I think for me, like as an adult, being able to discover this sport has meant everything to me, you know, because everything that I did when I was younger, you know, it was like nice to like try, be on a team, you know, like learn all of the good values from it. But I don't think anything has ever really pushed me like racing did. And it's something, it's the first sport in my life that I've ever wanted to like really be good at, you know?
Well, so what do you do for a living off the track?
So I sell drugs to buy tires. I am a legal drug dealer, also known as a pharmacist. That is my day job. I thoroughly love it, and I love that it gives me the flexibility to be able to do racing like motorcycles.
Right. Well, what experience or relationship did you have with motorcycles before B.TR?
So for me, I would say I'm a relatively new-ish rider. I rode for about a year on the street. I say a year very loosely just because the year that I was on the street, I rode maybe like once a month on the weekends up and down Pacific Coast Highway.
Right.
So I really don't feel like that counted, but one of my girlfriends, she actually took me to my first track day. I fell in love with it. I did track, like on and off for about like 2 years. And then my friends were like, let's go racing, Tiff. And I was like, okay, like, let's do it. I was like, I don't feel like I've experienced enough, but let's do it. I fell in love with it, and now I'm here.
Well, the next question is, what or who inspired you to apply for this program?
Well, I feel like this is going to be a really long answer, but I'll separate into like two components. One, I wanted to apply for this program because I genuinely love like what the program offers like to women. I love that it's an opportunity to grow the sport, right? Because women are still a minority, and even though it is a growing sport where women are getting into it more and more, we are still a minority in an entire, paddock full of men, right? So I love that this creates like visibility for women. I love that, it creates like a lot of opportunity for us to like grow and kind of show like, what we're capable of. And so for me, why I applied for B.TR, I felt like I could learn a lot from this program. I felt like I was, like even though I was like learning a lot at, like the track days and club racing, I wanted to be able to learn as much as I could by taking it to the next level with women that are, like super fast, who can show me what it is that like got them to that level. So being able to learn from my peers, that was something that I was really excited about. And I think overall, just like, representation. I am an Asian American female. I come from like a background where my parents are immigrants who were refugees from the Vietnam War, and so this really wasn't something that was like, on anybody's radar. I didn't come from a racing family. Like I didn't come from a family that was like, hey, like pursue your dreams. It was like survive. Survive, make it in America, and like I feel very fortunate to be, like the generation that gets to chase what it is that like sets their heart on fire, so I'm just really grateful for this opportunity. I honestly genuinely did not think I would get in, but I think once I did, it just meant like the world to me.
Well, what has been your favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica?
I think the fact that there's so much support across like all of the different classes, like I think there's like a respect and appreciation for what everyone is doing. Like, we're all racing motorcycles. It's something that requires all of our focus, all of our attention. It requires a lot of discipline. And I think like when you walk through the MotoAmerica paddock, it's something that, you can feel when you walk through it. And there's like a shared mutual respect. And, like for this, it's not just like a hobby for people, it's a craft that everybody is trying to like get better and better at. So when you walk through the paddock and, you look at like the next person who's racing motorcycles, you don't even have to say anything. It's understood.
Right. Well, Tiffany Vo, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I am joined by Taddy Pace. Thank you very much for joining us. So your answers can be as long or as short as they need to be, but really just looking for the first answer that comes to mind. And the first question is, did you play any other sports other than racing as a kid?
No. B.TR is my first... Sorry.
It's okay.
No, B.TR is my first race. Mm-hmm. Is my first competition. Before, I only... track and with my friends,
right?
For fun.
Well, what do you do for work off the track? Like, what do you do for work?
I build my bike,
mm-hmm.
and no training anytime because I don't have time in Brazil.
Right.
But I build my bike and participate in some things during the B.TR.
Right.
Nothing outside here.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, so you're committed.
Yeah.
Well, what experience or what kind of relationship did you have with motorcycles before B.TR?
Yeah, my relationships with motorcycle is my passion since I was 5.
Yeah.
I don't know when it starts, but in my life, everything I did with bike, with motorcycle trips and long trips, short trips.
Right. Just no racing.
Just no racing. But everything about motorcycle is included in my life.
Awesome. Well, what or who inspired you to apply for this program?
I don't understand the who.
What or who? Like, what made you decide to apply for B.TR?
What or who inspired?
What made you want to do this?
Okay, now I understand. Sorry.
No problem.
In Brazil, we have Royal Enfield. There are a Royal Enfield, and the I don't know the name. The Royal Enfield in Brazil suggest me if myself applied for the B.TR.
Oh,
understand you?
Yeah.
In the start, I didn't credible
right
that this is will work.
Right, it is.
But I will apply. I was apply. No, I applied. I don't know the.
That's fine.
Okay, sorry.
I speak English as my only language, and I still mess it up all the time.
After you edit this, please. And when I applied, I sent this apply for B.TR, and I didn't have idea this is work.
Right.
And when I saw, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what has been your favorite experience so far in MotoAmerica?
I think only I'm here to be here and entering in the race for have a competition.
Yes.
For me is incredible.
Yes.
Is auto. I don't know what I. This for me is amazing.
Yeah. It's got to be an amazing experience to be able to have travel the tracks and do the races and just meet all these people.
Yeah, I think I be able to stay and to be participate the competition, the big competition in America and in US is for me a great thing about my.
I can only imagine. Just attending the races has been a huge joy for me. I can't imagine if they actually let me compete. That's got to be extremely fun. Well, Taddy Pays, thank you very much for joining us today.
Sorry for my English. I'm nervous, and when I'm nervous, I can't speak.
Oh, you're a brave woman. You did a great job.
Okay,
thank you very much.